Hello guys, hope you're all well. So what I thought I'd do is just have a little play around with Newcastle. What I wanted to do really is do some transfers, sort of set up a tactic for them, and then I just went on holiday mode and just tested out the tactic. I've tried it out with a few games with Dundee United, and I've done a little bit with Bournemouth, just sort of tested with Bournemouth as well. So what I've gone for is a bit of a sort of a counter-attacking style, a bit like how Eddie Howe would set up at Bournemouth when I was in the Championship or in them early sort of Premier League years. Sometimes on occasion I'd go for a 4-2-3-1. You probably, with DMs, I'd imagine, if he was going to set it up. I mean, their centre midfielders weren't too creative. You've got players like O'Kane and Arthur that used to play in them, that sort of area, Gosling. They're more sort of players who are going to sit back rather than sort of get forward. So with Avalanta, you've got one. I've asked him to get forward just because this area here can end up being a little bit empty sometimes. Particularly, I've got these two sort of sitting narrow, but they won't always get inside. They're in this sort of, especially in this build-up phase, they're going to be outside here. And you could go for a sort of different role up front there if you wanted to go deep line forward. I've gone for a pressing forward because I didn't want moving to channels, and I think a false nine will kind of dribble a ball a bit much for what I wanted. So I kind of just wanted sometimes even just to receive the ball and kind of look for options around him. So at the back then, I've gone for a goalkeeper, just to take fewer risks. I don't really want someone who's just going to hoof the ball up. I think I've mentioned this before in previous tactics. Because of that, I've just gone to distribute the fullbacks as well and take short kicks, just to try and always make sure the goalkeeper plays out to the defence, but we're not playing out of defence. So I've already got these, defensive midfielders. I don't think I really need to drag everyone that much deeper, and I didn't really, I did try it out, but they just kind of passed the ball around the back quite a lot, but I just want them to sort of get the ball out to the fullback and start to moving the ball up quite quickly. So we've gone, the tempo is standard. I found like with the high, I was just getting, a lot of shots, but not shots for goal ratio, was just, I think it was about, I don't even know what it is now, but let's have a look. It's about 50% now, but at one point it was about 30, when I was playing in the early stages of the season, before I went on holiday mode, it was about sort of, 40%, so I wanted to get that up a little bit, so that's done all right. But yeah, so the tempo is just, it's purely for that reason. We've got a positive mentality, so they're going to move the ball up quite quickly anyway. And then we've got fairly narrow, just because I just wanted to keep everyone, I didn't really want to waste the ball, keep sort of hoofing it out wide. I haven't bothered with any focus play or anything like that, so just keep it simple. You can add things on as you go, in the situation, depending on what the match is really. So like I said, this pressing forward, this will become a complete forward on support or a deep line forward if you want to sort of move out into channels. If a team's got like three at the back and their fullbacks and their wing backs are right up here, that's quite a big channel for them to move into. So you could have him sort of coming out there, and you can get some down the line crosses coming from the wide midfielder and the wing back as well. Especially with Trippier here, he's quite good at crossing, so you can put the ball down to either here, over to the inverted winger over here, or the advanced forward. So there's plenty of options. This is quite a creative little area. We've got him moving into channels as well, so he'll kind of come wide a little bit with the wide midfielder and the wing back, and these three here can kind of get a lot going over here. And then we've got a deep line playmaker over here as well, can also sort of play balls up. So it's it's kind of all about just getting the ball up to over to these sort of guys. This guy here, probably pitching more of assists. You're going to see him receiving the ball about here, and then he'll be knocking the ball into one of these players running in really. And then again, look, this probably looks quite attacking to you on this side. A full-back attack I don't really consider as a massively attacking role. I think if you look at it compared to like the wing-back on attack, you can even just see the starting position goes up. So like I think it's just fine to play a full-back attack and that sometimes. I mean, the mentality's attacking. I think these will be a very attacking. So you could tone that down a little bit with a focus play or something like that. No, sorry, an overlap. But it's not really what I wanted. I wanted this guy to be quite attacking, and if I want to switch up and be a bit more defensive, I'll just change him to a support. And then I've got him sitting narrower, trying to get him to sort of just try and come in here a little bit. Like I said, this area can end up being a little bit empty as you're building up, and they can end up just sort of hitting the ball up to nowhere. You do get quite a few goals just hitting the ball over, and he just runs on. Dembele scored 45 goals this season. I've got him roaming for position. So he'll just kind of roam around up there. and he obviously moves into channels as well. So he'll come out wider there. Sometimes he'll receive the ball and just kind of hold it there, and this player will run in and he'll pass inside to him. So that'll happen whether he's on a support or an attack. Obviously, you're just going to get into the box a lot more on attack. So we've got the instructions just to make sure I ain't missed any. So we've got stay wider on the fullbacks. This here you can take it or leave it. That was just down to that one particular play. He kept hitting where this player's up a lot higher. He'll try and hit the ball down to him a lot more. If I just passed it short, I just kind of wanted him to play to the playmaker a little bit more. So we've got Mark Tighter on the centre backs. Nothing on these guys. He's got get further forward and move into channels. This guy here is trying to sit now, close down more, tackle harder, close down more, tackle harder here. These guys have already got closed down more, and then I've added it to him as well, and row in position. So when it comes to sort of opposite instructions then, so just to take you through them before this team instructions. So what I've gone for is I want to sort of steer the opposition outside. So this here, this up to you. I just wanted to sort of get stuck into players sometimes. So I just want to make sure that players sometimes they just run up to players and press them and then don't actually put the tackle in sometimes. So I just wanted to try and put them under pressure, trying to get them to hit a long ball into the players. So obviously I've got 6 players sitting quite deep. It makes sense for the player, the ball to be hit into that area, and then I can build up and go on the counter attack. So I took this sort of tip off Dalgit, sort of showing the players onto the foot you want. So obviously you show the wingers onto the wing that they're playing on, just so that they can't cut inside and they just end up being forced across. And then these sort of fullbacks here, you kind of leave them free. You don't mark them. What I'm doing is not marking them, and then when the ball goes to them, I'll press them, but try and press them to sort of move the ball back inside. And generally, it results in them sort of trying to hit the ball long across the pitch or something like that. And then what we're doing is we're marking the central midfielders. So obviously, when them fullbacks, we're trying to make them come back in. If we're marking off their passing options into the central midfielder, that's going to result in more sort of long balls or just misplaced passes on me winning the ball. So, and then also what we're going to do is ask the wingers to be pressed as well. So the same scenario. So we try and press them but push them out to the outside, and then we just keep the central midfielders, defensive midfielders, and the strikers all marked. So with the instructions here, we've got I've kept the shorter passing. I found with the direct passing, I've got counter attack already, and the positive mentality that they're going to take risks and try and get the ball forward. So just sort of use that fairly narrow and the short passing just to try and this work ball in the box just to try and keep that. What was that? My passing rate was quite low. Succession rate. Obviously, we're not playing possession football, but we don't want to keep losing the ball every time we try and counter. So it's probably could argue it's a bit more of a sort of a fluid counter attack. If you go into these sort of settings up here, you've got the fluid and direct counter attack. This fluid counter attack has got shorter passing in it, so you can counter with short passing. This I explained already. I already want the goalkeeper to pass shorter and just get it out to there. We're countering. Obviously, we're going to counter press just because we're quite deep anyway. I think if we're regrouping, we end up just going to be sitting back quite a lot. We haven't got a high line or a high stand or a standard line, so we're just really trying to sort of. If we lose the ball, we try and win it back in this midfield area, and then just try and get it up to the AF again. So, even you can counter press in a mid block. I think I consider this a mid block, and I think it works quite well. Obviously Liverpool use a high defensive line, but they press in a mid block is quite well known now. So it can be done. But mostly what you're going to get. We're looking for these players here to win the ball down the wings here. We're trying to keep quite compact in the middle here. These players win the ball. There's a couple of goals I remember in the early season I scored where the player would tackle here and then just hit the ball down, and he would either hit it to him or him, and he would assist this guy or he would just go on and score. So it works quite well. So it's quite a good trap. You can obviously do other ones as well where you just kind of switch things around and sort of mark the sort of fullbacks and stuff, but then you'd have to change your mark the fullbacks and the wingers, and then press the central midfielders and centre backs. But you'd probably want to change this defensive whip if you want to go down that route. So To be fair, I'll just set this here. It'd be nice, a little feature actually. What I'd like actually, if they could just save this, if you could save this whole loadout and then have another one as well, so you could save different traps and then use them against different formations. So maybe something I should put on the forum as a feature request. But with the sort of results, then we've done quite well. Newcastle end up finishing third in the league, which that's quite surprising really. You can see the squad there. I did buy some players, bought Dembele, Calvert-Lewin, Cataldi, because I just like him and he's a good player. Roden, Chambers, Trippier. Obviously this is before the update. I just bought him. Who else do we get? Ben Johnson. Brought Messler off Leeds in goal. Draxler, Carlson off PSV. So we bought some good players, but we've still got like a few players about. So yeah, third in the league. So we lost 6 games in the end, but you can see most of them against the bigger teams: Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, Man City, and then obviously Leicester and a couple of away games there as well. And then they actually went on, and I think they lost one cup final and won another one. So they won the FA Cup. Overall, good season. I tested it out with Bournemouth as well. They finished 4th and won the playoffs, so that wasn't too bad with them. And then with Dundee United, I've done quite well. So I've gone for a slightly different setup with Dundee. I've gone for a ball-winning midfielder here on defend, and we've gone a little bit more attacking with the mentality for some games. I'll just switch between the two really. I've only played these games here, and then that's it. That's all I've played with it so far. So doing quite well there. As you can see, the results are good though. Look, 1-6-1, 1-1 drew against Rangers, and then that was a bit disappointing. I conceded 2 goals, quite scrappy goals in that. So, and then 5-1 and 4-0. So that's a good start to the season. I've got on top of the league. I might just carry on playing that, to be honest, rather than just sort of holiday mode in it. I just wanted to test it again. So what I'll do is I'll put the tactic in the Dropbox. Leave me any comments, any suggestions you've got, any ways you improved it. You can sort of tweak this, like I said, any sort of team that you're playing with. I'd use it in more of a team that's sort of going for like a mid-table team to lower in the league. The reason I went with a standard line is because I haven't got not quick players at the back or anything like that. So you probably could hit teams on the counter and do quite well. So I hope it works for you well. Take care, everyone.